Hey, it's Adam with ROAS Media, and today we're looking at Mike's Air Conditioning and Heating. They're still in the Texas area, and we're taking a look at their ads and what they're advertising for. So, they're advertising for ductless HVAC as their keyword that we found them for. They have 3 ads going for that. And so let's look at their ad. HVAC, heating, and cooling. So not really related to ductless. Schedule an appointment today. Okay. Heating and cooling is comfortable as you... heating your home as comfortable as our own. So maybe it's just me, but writing everything in first letter caps for a description is kind of hard to read. Maybe it's my brain, I'm just not used to doing it. But typically, you don't write descriptions that way. And typically, you want to be in the mind of your customer. They're not used to reading it that way. So maybe it shouldn't mean nitpicking, but I always have a tough time reading paragraphs when there's a bunch of caps in it. Anyway, the ad doesn't really relate to the keyword they're going after, so maybe they aren't trying to advertise for ductless. So the first thing we would do is keyword prune. So go through their past search term data, take out everything that isn't related to the keyword they're supposed to be advertising for, and then leaving everything in. Just as a stat, toot my own horn a little bit, we spent about $2,500 in Google AdWords in September for one of our clients. They got back $89,000 in revenue because of the meticulous work we've done over the years of taking out keywords that didn't belong there and leaving only the ones that did. Plus landing page optimization, that type of thing. But it was mainly keyword pruning. I give the majority of that to that. So this is the landing page they're running it to. This is just their home page. So the problem with running things to your home page is everything's on here. It's not really structured how you want your clients to interact with you. And you're leaving the onus on them to figure out what they want and then get in contact with you instead of you proactively catering their experience based on the ad you're running. So the second thing we would do is build a landing page. Either make a landing page out of one of the pages on your website or make a dedicated landing page, which is the best way. If you want to make a landing page out of one of the pages on your website, you would take a ductless page, and I don't see you have that here. So I don't see you have a mini split page at all, but you are running ductless ads, which is odd. So maybe you don't do them, but I don't see it here. Maybe it's under air conditioning. Let me take a look at that. Air conditioning. There's a lot of people grouping together. Services, duct repair, ductless solutions. Okay, so you do offer ductless solutions. So what we would do is either build a ductless page or run things to, you don't have a contact form on here. So run things to your contact page and cater this to be a landing page. You can do that with Google Optimize. It's pretty simple to do. It's just email us. Where's the contact page? My fault. Ask a tech, schedule quote, or here we go. Okay. So when I click on the contact page, it didn't go anywhere. All right. So I would run everything to this page. Whoa, that's a lot of info. Maybe it works. Anyway, so I would try to fiddle around with this form to figure out what works and what doesn't, because that's a lot of info for someone who's just first time getting to know you from an advertisement. Okay. So initially, run things to this page. We'd more likely have to build a dedicated landing page on something like Lead Pages for this so they can actually convert the traffic they're bringing in, because I have a feeling right now that they're probably not doing that at all. So using Google Optimize, you can take out the header, you can take out the footer, and you can cater the boxes that aren't required. It looks like the only boxes that are required are these ones up here. Which ones do you need? Okay, so only required of that. So I would use Google Optimize, take out everything else in the except this actually. I would take out everything out the form and just cater it to what they're coming in for. They want a ductless estimate because they're clicking on an ad that says ductless estimate, going to a landing page that says ductless estimate. They're filling out a form that says ductless estimate on the headline, so they're looking for that. So cater their experience to what they're expecting. Get rid of the footer, all these links here. You don't need them at all. Why not just stick with this? This looks like it's easier. Just put a zip code here instead of how can we help you on your page and you're done with it. Anyway, so I want to give an example of one of the reasons why it's good to have a branded campaign, especially if you're in the HVAC space. So you see my IP addresses in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm searching their brand name, Mike's Air and Mike's Air Conditioning. And you can see that by default, usually contractors have air conditioning, heating, HVAC in their names. And typically other contractors are bidding on HVAC, heating, air conditioning terms. So Google will automatically show, especially if you have it in your name, other ads above your organic listings. So you can see Mike's here is at the first organic listing, they're third in the maps, but you see an ad here with other competitors. Same thing on this one, just Mike's Air, and you'll see a number 1 Air. So it's good to have a branded campaign just for your brand name, especially if you're in the HVAC space, because you don't know how much traffic you're losing. Typically, it's about, I don't know, the numbers vary depending on the search traffic for your name, but typically it's about 5 sales a month for an average contractor, and that's a pretty big deal because the sales can be, I don't know, $2,500 to tens of thousands of dollars depending on the system they're looking for. So it's pretty substantial. $2,500 is like for the lowest cost furnace in a half-day crew. So 2 ads for your brand name. You want to get rid of that, but everything else looks pretty good. Your Google My Business isn't popping up for your brand name, which is a little questionable for me. I'm not sure why it's not. But maybe your name is just has just too many keywords in it for Google to actually, and no one searches for your brand name yet, but it has too many keywords in it to show it up specifically for that. Or I have to look for this. Let's see. So let's go in here, build this, boom. All right. So my link is going to, so it's still popping up. The link didn't change. Give me a sec. Let's make sure. Google Sheets sometimes is slow. And bear with me a little bit. Yep, so that should work now. All right. So it takes out the heating, air conditioning. It takes out the heating part because I have heating in my link. It's just Google doesn't put that with your name. Or maybe the and sign. So I'll get rid of the and sign. Excuse me. All right, get rid of the and sign. Let's see what happens. There we go. Change the links. Come on. There's about 1,000 links here, and I have to change each one of them. I should probably build something for this to make it a little easier. But there you go. So even searching your brand name, your Google My Business doesn't pop up. It's just the maps because it's so ubiquitous with what everybody else is putting in their names as well. So it gives Google a hard time figuring out that the people are actually looking for you. Anywho, run a brand search campaign. So those are 3 things you can do to double your conversions overnight. Is build a landing page, make your ads relevant to what you're advertising for, and then use a branded search campaign to actually show up for your brand name pretty cheaply. Usually those are the cheapest leads you're going to get from Google search. You don't have the Facebook pixel installed on your website, so we would install that so you can advertise on Facebook. You want to remarket it to people who've been to your website from your ads. It's like going to an estimate and it's going to an estimate, giving them an estimate, leaving their house and never following up. You don't want to do that. Typically for contractors, it's a 2-call close or 2-call close. The first one's the estimate. Next one we get back to your office. About usually the sales cycle, depending on what it is, ductless is about 25 days. You know, they'll give you a call, say I'm ready, but you want to follow with them consistently to make sure you stay top of mind because they're going to get 3 estimates anyway. If you can avoid that, more power to you. But I hadn't found that great of a way to avoid it in my time being a salesperson. So you're not running ads for your Facebook page. We would start with a low cost remarketing ad and then move from there. You really don't need much more than a remarketing ad, especially if you only want to do Google ads. That should be kind of a combo. Remarketing should come along with any type of ad management because it is important and because it is necessary. You don't want to have, it's like, you know, every house you go to, you're expecting a 1-call close. That's usually not going to happen. So remarketing is going to help you bridge the gap between that and follow people online. So those are 3 or 4 things. A dedicated landing page. And you don't really need that. You can just use Google Optimize to optimize your website or to cater your website to your experience you want the person to have. An ad that matches your keyword. So your ad doesn't really match your keyword, doesn't really say ductless in it anywhere. It talks about all your services, repair, replacements, all that good stuff, which you're advertising for ductless specifically. So touch on that. A branded search campaign because your name has a bunch of keywords in it that everybody else is searching for, and you should be showing up for it, and you're not. And then remarketing on Facebook. Those are the 4 things you can do, and 2 of them you can do literally today to double your conversions tomorrow. So first thing I would get done is a landing page. That would boost it that would literally do it overnight. You can build a landing page in 20, 30 minutes, and I can even give you a template to help you start you out. So it's pretty simple to do. And then a remarketing campaign is pretty simple to do as well. You just take a couple of installation pictures. Usually the best one is installation pictures or reviews with installation pictures in them. Make a video out of them. You just use the pictures or whatever. But typically reviews work the best, especially for this type of service. So if you have any questions, let us know, and we'll talk to you soon.